The Diablo 4 devs have to be intentionally trying to destroy the game at this point. There is no way that someone is legitimately this stupid, talentless, and short-sighted to make something as bad as Season 12 of The Butcher. Previously, it was the pet season that was the worst, you know, with the pet that did stuff, but no one could tell what it actually does. That was previously the worst one. But now, these geniuses decided that in a game where the whole point of it is to pick a class because you like it, and play the class in the way that you want to play it is a stupid idea, and so they're gonna make it so you can't play the class that you wanted because that's gonna be the new mechanic. How the hell did this idea of the Butcher get past the development stage, and the person who said that this is going to be a thing that they want to do did not get fired instantaneously? How is this even possible? It is clearly, visibly to everyone, the stupidest idea for a season ever created in any game ever.
So, starting with the Diablo news, Season 12 kicked off this week with a rough start. Server issues delayed the start by about an hour and a half for many players, and then even once we were in, there have been many bugs this season. Can't select your pet, can't change your transmog, one of the runes wasn't working, the Paladin's Arbiter.
I'm pretty sure you can't even get interns to work on Diablo 4 at this point, honestly, so they have to probably just get crack addicts from the streets and hope that they can code.
Wings are gone, the Doom cosmetic currency was not dropping, a season rank objective wasn't progressing for many players. Now, many of those issues have been fixed by now, but it was an unusually rough season start for Diablo 4. As for the season content itself, the player base is mixed on the Butcher transformation. Some people find it fun, others were over it basically after the first time. For myself,
how absolutely stupid do you need to be, honestly, to support a mechanic like this and not hate it instantaneously? The point of the game is to pick a character you want to play. So unless you want to play the Butcher as a character constantly, there's no point in this even existing.
As far as gimmicks go, I love this one, and it does not outstay its welcome. Since hitting level 60, the game has not forced me to become the Butcher to progress my character in any significant way. It's an option that I...
Yeah, but that just makes it a completely irrelevant season mechanic. What do you mean? If it doesn't even force you to do this, what's the point of it? You just got a season that doesn't have a mechanic in that case. That's also bad. Like, how?
know exists, but I've felt no need to pursue any Butcher activities from my Torment 1 to Torment 4 journey.
Guys, the season is not that bad because you can not use the season. Wow, that's the best advertisement for Diablo 4 that ironically I have seen in a while.
The Slaughterhouses, they're a great novelty that get old fast, but you don't have to do more than 6 of them for the season rank, so that's like 20 minutes of your time. Still, it was nice to visit the cities we normally visit and be the monster rampaging down the streets, butchering town guards and parties of heroes. Honestly, keeping the Slaughterhouses as a super rare permanent feature could be cool. Non-mandatory, let us trade the key away if we don't want it. It's just something that makes the game bigger. Instead of fresh meat, it can drop obols or gold or whatever else. Then I think the Butcher's kit was really well designed, and it's fun to play with. He has a full build with no wasted skill slot. There's a clear purpose.
I'm pretty sure you just mashed the buttons and it worked.
To each ability, and he's really strong. I was worried that it's going to be like a conduit shrine, you transform and you feel like this is a worse build than what I had, but no, you do not feel nerfed, even relative to a T4 capable build. Now that said, the PvP implementation is not good. The Butcher gets one shot by any endgame build in T4, so the PvP event consists of the Butcher player instantly.
I have given up on PvP in Diablo. It was actually a big thing. Diablo 3, when it came out, there was a huge amount of players that were excited about PvP. They promised arenas, ranking, and all of that shit. Diablo 3 initially had even a PvP spectacle of what can happen. I was excited, everyone was excited, Diablo 3 happened. And you know what? Hot take. Diablo 3 was good at the time. It was hard, it was harsh, it was unique. It had builds, it had stuff, it had things and whatnot. The checkpoint system was retarded. The auction house wasn't the big issue. The big issue was that they changed it into the fucking Zoomer Fiesta before Fortnite was a thing, so it completely flopped. And, well, now that Fortnite is a thing, Diablo 4, the Zoomer Fiesta is still flopping. Good job, Blizzard. Good job.
Dying to one hit if there are any other players around. So it's a neat idea, and it actually did work on lower difficulties, but it does not hold up in endgame. Now, all that...
Yeah, Blizzard will never balance the PvP ever. That idea that PvP will exist in Diablo is gone.
said, I'm glad that they tried a few risky things this season. PvP is not being reborn with this, but it's nice that they haven't just given up on it completely. The full Butcher takeover, again, a polarizing feature, but if you don't like it, you're not forced to do it for very long. Even if Season 12 will not be held up as one of D4's best seasons, the fact that they tried new creative ideas should be applauded.
Creative ideas that anyone with a brain or eyes could tell you that's not gonna work. I'm not gonna give Blizzard good boy points because they tried the idea that everyone and their dead grandma knew already that it's gonna fail.
You're allowed to dislike what they did, but if all they ever do is stick with what works, that's how you get 5 seasons of Powers in a row. And since Season 12 is a shorter season, it was the perfect time to try out crazy things. Now, aside from that,
Powers are not the issue. They have never been the issue. The implementation of said powers have been an issue, because they're dull and boring always. Again, the greatest example of this is the Boss Power League. It was initially really good, people liked it, people tested, and I thought, wow, this could actually be fun. And then they nerfed it because, oh, you want to use the powers? Well, you can't, you need to play your fucking classes, chud. Yeah, they just nerfed the powers into irrelevant garbage that you don't have to use. That is pointless to use, in fact, in most cases. It was pointless. Well, what is the point of boss powers if you can't make builds around it? It's just another like damage multiplier thing. We already have had that. The power systems are not bad. It's just Blizzard can never implement them properly.
I was disappointed to find out that Mythic Prankster keys have been nerfed. From 5 Mythic drops, now you only get 1.
Good.
This really should have been in the patch notes.
Goblins suck. It's the worst mechanic in the game. It literally just treats you as a moron. It's like, oh, goblins. Goblins are the worst mechanic by far in this game.
My buddy found a Mythic Prankster day 1. We ran it. So excited to be like, wow, dude, like we're gonna go from T1 to T4 instantly with like, you know, of the 5 mythics that drop, at least one of them's bound to be good for our build. And then we just got instantly deflated when we only saw that 1 mythic drop. I mean, sure, yeah, this is a first world problem. I understand I'm complaining about getting a mythic. I'm still happy that I did get a mythic, but it's just, if I had known that it was only...
He's not happy about getting a mythic. If he was happy about getting a mythic, then then this conversation would go completely different. In Diablo 4, a game where everything is free and nothing is a higher rarity than common, if we're being completely honest, when you get something that's not immediately useful, it feels bad because it's fucking worthless. So there you go.
To drop 1 mythic ahead of time, then I wouldn't be disappointed that I'm getting 4 fewer than I expected. Then, as for bloodied items, I'm very meh on them. We're definitely feeling the loss of Sanctification this season, not just because of the power, but just the chase, right? The Sanctification chase was such a good endgame crafting system to engage with. And
Sanctification is corruption from Path of Exile. And surprise, surprise, the only actually liked mechanic in the whole of Diablo 4. Cameron, please, I'm a human. Not a meat popsicle, how dare you. The only good mechanic ever considered in Diablo 4, they're like, no, we can't have this. We can't have this. No, fun is not allowed. The only good mechanic in the whole history of Diablo goddamn 4. And they're like, no. No.
And bloodied items do not fill that role at all. So I'm really looking forward to what Lord of Hatred brings in that regard. We'll actually talk more about that in a bit. Now, bloodied items have a few problems for me. First off, they're useless if you're not on a kill streak. So they don't help against lair bosses or world bosses. And when they do work, they take a while to ramp up since they're going to scale with your kill streak. And then your kill streak.
Another obvious problem, by the way, in a game that literally is designed, fully built, intended about instant gratification, no cooldowns, no resources, zoom, 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 fast, 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 kill, 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 you fucking added another mechanic that takes time to actually do shit? Are you stupid? No, you are. How stupid are you? That is the real question here. It's like season 1 or season 2 or season 3. What was it with the cyst that you click on and then there's an animation of summoning things? I said instantaneously the moment I saw it, why the fuck does this have a 10-second animation? In 10 seconds I could have already finished 3 other maps. I'm not gonna wait for a thingamajiggy to pop and give me an enemy that's not gonna drop anything useful. I'm zooming, boy. And everyone hated it, and surprise, surprise, they made it instant. You click on the thing, half a second, and it passes, bam, enemies. And like, how can we fix the game? Trick question, we can't, I know. But how are you even supposed to make Diablo 4 even relatively fucking bearable as a game when these people don't understand what even their current slop-loving player base actually deems good in a game, aka instant gratification? Like, they still can't understand that people want it now and right now, okay? Those are the only 2 settings. Right now and now. If it's anything else but that, it's a bad mechanic. And they still can't even do that properly. And they want to fix the game? What do you mean fix the game? The game's dead.
Streak can fall off and you lose all that power. So you can't really make a cool build that revolves around bloodied items because the build still needs to function without being on a kill streak. Since you gotta, be strong enough to kill stuff to build up a kill streak to begin with. And we haven't even gotten into the fact that group play or open world play can mess with your kill streaks. If others are killing all the monsters around you before you could tag them and kill them, then good luck building up and maintaining a kill streak. Second problem, because the bloodied affix...
This is something I said, by the way, at the very start. The fact that you have kill streaks means that only the most fast and meta builds are going to be thriving and everyone else is going to be left even harder in the dust.
Stack with each other, and with kill streaks, each base affix can't be all that big or exciting. 10% more move speed per kill streak tier. By itself, that sounds pretty boring, but that's because it has to be designed in a space where you have to consider that the player may have 4 items with this affix running at a 5-tier kill streak, so that 10% suddenly becomes a whopping 200% move speed. That's insane. That's huge. That's fun. But average player is not going to experience 200% move speed because they're not going to have gone 4 of the same bloodied affixes.
I like how he says average player in a completely... It sounds so dystopian. Average player. It sounds like one step removed from humanity. Average player. Oh my lord.
On the correct gear pieces, since getting
this sounds roughly how I refer to Starfield fans.
Correct base gear piece and affixes is more important than getting the correct bloodied affix, since again the build needs to function without kill streaks. So bloodied affixes just exist in this weird space where for the average player they're just random affixes on their gear that sometimes do a little something. It's really only the try-hard min-maxers that will reach a point in gearing where they'll be perfecting their bloodied affixes. I don't know, maybe I'm severely undervaluing the worth of these bloodied affixes. I imagine for pit pushing, we're going to see the leaderboards or the tower pushing, right? It's going to be all people with bloodied affixes with the main stat stacking. Obviously, that's going to be really powerful. But for regular players, they'll be struggling just to get the correct affixes and greater affixes on their gear, let alone have to also worry about bloodied affixes. I don't know, folks, what do you think about bloodied items? Do you love?
It's stupid, as everything Blizzard does. Thank you for asking, Riker. Kiss, kiss.
Them? If you do, what do you like about them? In theory, I like the idea of items that scale off of kill streaks. I think it's a cool idea.
I don't. I think it's a horrible idea because this pushes people to just use a build that zoom, and they'll keep on zooming. That's it. It pushes people to play the most brain dead fast builds ever. It punishes people who don't want to do it because the game is if you introduce a kill streak mechanic that does something, you're forever balancing around the fact that that exists. Which means now, if you are using something that can benefit from this, you're fucked. So it's the worst mechanic.
And I think maybe as like a single item or even a set of items that some players can choose to opt into if they want to build around that, I think that would have worked well. But as a seasonal feature, I just think they kind of fall flat. But again, hey, we could have just gotten powers again, so I'm glad that the devs tried something different, and the bloody items isn't the only thing that we have this season. And at the end of the day, not every idea will be a winner, and some seasons will be stronger than others.
Well, somehow Diablo 4 hasn't had a winner for all the time it has existed.
Now, there are some other successes with this season. I liked the bloodied keys. Opting into higher difficulty is great. The game felt challenging for longer. That butcher chasing me at some point was actually a serious menace. I'm still not at a place where I can safely tackle all the content on max difficulty. Now, there is one issue with the bloodied sigils, and that's the fact that once you complete a pit level 100, you will only ever then get blood-soaked keys to drop rather than bloodied keys. And that has to change. I imagine they're going to bug fix. It's not a bug. They're going to balance change that next week. Because just because you struggle through a pit level 100 does not mean you are ready to exclusively tackle pit level 100 lair bosses. Speaking of lair bosses, the new Butcher lair boss is a great addition to the game. Kill streaks themselves, they're nice. They're undertuned, if anything, as a seasonal mechanic. They should be giving a lot more XP, closer to what Diablo 3 Massacre bonuses give. But they're a good addition to the game, and, you know, they're a base feature in D3. I could see them becoming a base feature in D4. I know a lot of people were finding the Butcher Unreal Tournament monster kill style callouts to be really annoying, but they hotfixed that. Now you only hear it, I think, on the highest tier of kill streak. Then the Doom Reliquary. I didn't think I'd ever be talking about a Reliquary as a positive feature, but it was done very well, especially with being able to get the cosmetics as drops from the Doom chest. I think this
What the hell is a Reliquary?
is the best crossover event they've actually done. Overall, we knew that Season 12 would be a shorter season, and the devs designed it with that in mind. They told us not to expect a big blockbuster season. I got more than I expected from Season 12, and I've been enjoying it a lot more than I expected to enjoy it based on the PTR, but it certainly is not better than or equal to the past couple of seasons. And folks, if you have any questions about Season 12, check out my Ultimate Season 12 guide video that I released yesterday, which covers the fastest ways to level, how to farm the Doom cosmetics, tips and tricks, and everything you could be wondering about the season. Plus, I also have my class tier list video to help you pick a class. Now,
Oh, boy.
some more interviews with the devs have come out
Pick a class where you're supposed to be a butcher. Nice.
regarding Lord of Hatred. The first bit of news there, which broke late last week, is that there will be 12 Torment levels in the expansion. So another
Oh yeah, we know about this. Who cares?
8 on top of what we have.
I mean, I guess everyone cares because everyone's going to be forced to deal with this. I have said for a very long time that Torment levels don't solve shit. Also, this is a Diablo 3 mechanic. Once again, surprise, surprise, Diablo 4 gets turned into Diablo 3 so much more. Who would have expected, I know.
And a lot of us former Diablo 3 players have an immediate, unhappy, visceral reaction to that. And I believe that alone is strong enough reason why this should not have been done. At least not in this.
What are they gonna do? Honestly, what are they gonna do? Every time the Diablo 4 team has tried to do something unique, it has been so much fucking worse than just stealing something from an already failed game called Diablo 3. Like, you can choose to be the laughingstock of the city, or you can choose to be the laughingstock of the village. Not great choices, but one is severely better than the other.
This way. But before we get to that, let's explain what we know. So we know Torment 12 will not exceed the pit's current ceiling. We know that they are adding these extra torments to make all activities in the game competitive. They don't want just the pit being the only difficult thing in the end game. They want to give us...
This is so stupid. This is again gonna be something's gonna be the most competitive thing out there by far, by the way, and everyone's gonna do it. This is how this always works. And if you have played Diablo since the launch, remember how they nerf everything that's better than everything else instead of buffing things that are weaker? Yeah, that's life.
A reason to make our characters powerful and have rewards scale up with the higher torments as well. And because they're giving us a loot filter, they can scale up the quantity of drops in higher torments, since we can just filter out to see whatever we want to see. We know that the jumps in difficulty between torment levels will not be as drastic as...
By the way, the filter is gonna make it, so... At some point, this is my prediction for the filter. They're gonna stealthily increase the drop rate by like 1,000% because of the filter. Because the reality is, if you have ever gotten to the end game-ish of Diablo 4, you know that out of 1,000 items dropped, maybe one is even remotely worth looking at. And obviously that's not going to go well. So either they're going to increase the quality of drops, so it's actually better based on, you know, what the average player actually wants to get on items, or they're going to just boost the drop rate up 100 million%. So the filter's not actually going to change anything. That's what I think is going to happen. Blizzard is going to find a way to make the loot filter irrelevant. Because because the first thing that people are going to be complaining if the drop rate is the same is the fact that they have literally played 20 hours and they have gotten only 2 drops, and that must be a bug, right? And the moment something like that happens, the moment something feels hard, Blizzard instantaneously has a, you know, standby 24/7 crack team of buffers that are gonna make a mechanic completely redundant because now it's free, constant, and everyone gets it instantaneously forever. And that's gonna happen with loot. That's gonna happen with loot.
Currently are. And overall, they don't see torments as difficulty tiers anymore, but rather as progress steps. Difficulty will instead come with stuff like war plans. That's where you're going to customize your challenge. And PC Gamer's Tyler Kopp...
How is fucking progress different from challenge?
Also confirmed that profaned mine cages are returning as another way to opt into more challenge, so that's also great. So the torment levels are just about progression, with Torment 12 being aspirational and, quote, really effing hard. Now, if I had to guess...
yes, again with the really hard. Just the 10x multiplier at the end. Aspirational content. Remember when the last time they added something and named it aspirational content? People complained. Do you want to guess what happened later? I mean, I just fucking literally went on a 2-minute yap session about the last time something was not achievable by everyone. They made it achievable by everyone. There's no such thing as aspirational content in a game where the only difficulty settings is now and right now.
Put Torment 12 at pit level 120 at minimum, but we don't really know what our power level is going to look like in Lord of Hatred, whether we're going to be doing lower or higher pits than we're doing today, given it's the biggest shakeup in the meta we're going to see, with all passives disappearing from the skill tree, so we're losing a ton of power there, but they're presumably bringing power in other ways, so who knows. Regardless, that's everything that we know about moving to 12.
Oh, God forbid we're not dealing damage in the rough range of 1,000 on an ability to 3 million on the same ability. Wait, has anyone actually explained how the fuck is it possible that an attack can somehow crit 20k and then it crits 20 million? How the fuck is... How does the math even work there?
Torment levels. Now, as someone who has been opposed to adding more torment levels from day one of Diablo 4, because I wanted to always avoid a repeat of the Diablo 3 situation of getting 16 torment levels, here's my take on things. The goal of achieving distinct progress steps, I like that. I like that a lot. Path of Exile has like 16 tiers of maps to progress through, and no one complains that PoE has too many difficulty settings. But here's my problem.
Yes?
Diablo 3 has...
But PoE is also a good game, but you're not supposed to kill the end game super last boss in 5 minutes. Diablo 4 is, though.
16 torment levels. But realistically, most players only ever engage with a quarter of those levels, if that. They are not progressing through 16 levels, they skip the vast majority of them. Getting the right items lets you suddenly jump 10 torment levels, basically. Diablo 4 currently has a lesser version of this. You get the right item or a couple of items, and you can possibly jump 2 torment levels. But the difficulty gap in Torments is higher in D4 than it is in D3. And Lord of Hatred will be reducing the difficulty gap, so we'll presumably be able to more easily skip Torment levels in Lord of Hatred. Now, I don't know how it's going to work in practice. If we do actually progress through the Torments, then great, mission accomplished. But if the meta tactic is to stay on a low Torment until you farm up XYZ, and then you basically jump 10 Torment tiers, then we're just repeating the Diablo 3 mistake again. Now that said, here's why I think this is a bad idea, even if it does work out the way the devs want it to. And it's because of the Diablo 3 baggage. Because of the immediate, visceral reaction from Diablo 3 players to hearing that we're getting 12 Torment tiers in Diablo 4. It's just about the packaging. It's not about what's actually under the hood. Had they done what would have been fundamentally the same system, but presented it differently in a way that did not immediately remind us of Diablo 3 Torment 16, then they would not have to suddenly defend the idea.
Wait, any bets on when the Patagon level is going to be going into the thousands? You know this thing? Where we get a copy-paste of Diablo 3's system, like 20% more resource, 20% movement speed, 10% magic font. Any bets? Any bets? Because it has to be coming. It has to be coming. Okay? It has to be there, okay? Because the moment Blizzard sees, oh, our players are hitting max level cap, it's gonna be like, ooh, well, better give them something new. Oh, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
And the decade of baggage that Diablo 3 built up with its ever-growing torment creep. Even if this idea is good and will make the game better, a lot of people have already decided that it's terrible because on the surface, it sounds like what happened with D3. And while the devs may think of the torments as progress steps, to the players, they are still presented as difficulty settings. Path of Exile's mapping system is better packaged as a progression system. Lord of Hatred was an opportunity to change the packaging, deliver us what would ultimately...
No, this is completely wrong. Completely wrong. In Path of Exile, you're supposed to achieve things, get stronger, because everything is not given to you for free. In Diablo 4 and 3, everything was given to you for free. So no one cares about the initial things. Everyone wants to be at the end because that's where you obviously have to be, considering you should be there by right, okay? It's not a problem of design, because if you took this whole system, this whole concept, and fucking pasted it in Path of Exile, it would work. It would work. And if you took Path of Exile system and pasted it into Diablo 4, it would not work. It would have the same issue. These systems are not inherently bad. They're just a fucking rough text of what you're supposed to expect. But how people treat these systems is completely different.
Still be this 12 torment system, but make it feel like the progression system that the devs want it to be. Keep the same 4 torments that we have, and then add the 9 layers of hell as a new endgame challenge for players to progress through once they've reached Torment 4. The 9 layers of hell, they scale differently, but they ultimately do the same thing in that they just elevate the base challenge of all content in the game. Maybe to unlock each layer of hell, you have to farm a key that leads to a boss or a capstone dungeon, and once you've beat that, you've permanently unlocked that layer of hell. It's literally just the
Yeah, because we liked Capstone Dungeons so much.
same torment system under the hood, but now it's packaged differently. It feels
I don't care. It's gonna be a disaster. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it. As bad as always. Anyway, that was our boy Riker. 10 out of 10. Bye.